Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the latest episode of the most entertaining podcast. I'm your host for this episode, Chaimberlain Bauder. Joining me today, TME regulars, Aanu and Tobi. Aanu, how are we doing today?
Fantastic, my bro. How are you?
Hey, we're riding high on a victory Sunday right now, and hoping for another one on Sunday night as the American that I am.
Nice.
Tobi, how about yourself? How's it been going for you?
I'm feeling good. It's been a good week to be an Arsenal fan. But yeah, so happy to be back on the podcast. Glad to chat with you guys again.
Love to hear it. All right. This week, we're taking a break from the top 5 series. Take a reflection of the Premier League so far through week 6 and take a look at the big 6 in particular and how they fared in their first few games. Now, let's clarify. We're talking about the big 6. We're not talking about the top 6 right now. We are talking about your quintessential big 6. So for all of you, maybe non-mainstream fans, sorry, we're going to talk about Manchester today. Despite them being at 8 and 9 in the table in the early goings of the year. But as we go through, we will be grading each team's performance so far with an A for looked great, B for on the way, C for been okay, and D not impressed. But before we get into this episode, of course, we have our most entertaining game of the week for game week 4, going back a little bit. So our last episode, our game of the week was a 7-goal thriller in Italy between Juve and Inter. If you have forgotten the theme of our games of the week, it's those high goal games where maybe it's defensive lapses, but maybe it's also just super impressive offensive play, and a little bit of both in this week's game week. In the championship for the most entertaining game, it was Bristol and Hull City, a 6-goal classic filled with chances from both teams, crossbars, goals in the opening minutes, goals in the closing minutes of that game, whether it was defensive mistakes or just impressive play. And of course, as the Man United fan, I have to shout out the goalkeeper play from Bristol City in that game. But definitely worth a watch for any soccer obsessive. Find it also linked in the description down below. All right. Without further ado, let's get into the big 6. We will go lowest to highest according to current position in the table. So we're going to go letter grades for every team. And of course, that means we start with who else but Manchester United, sitting currently at 9th in the Premier League tables, coming off of a 2-0 win against Sunderland. In their last 5 games, they've won 3, they've lost 2. Amorim still struggling to put together 2 wins back-to-back in the Premier League. All right. Of course, I can preface this one as long as I want to, and I will actually take the place of going last on this one because I think I'm going to just, unfortunately, cry by the end of it. But, Tobi, we'll go to you first on the Manchester United front. Of course, coming into this one with 10 points right now. They're tied with City, but City's got 1 game in hand.
Yeah. All right. So the Man United thing, and I'm going to try not to be biased at all. And I also don't want to use, how people after a certain game or a certain result, people are going to react based off that result, and that's going to be the new agenda, the new mindset. I don't want to do a quick reaction. I'm going to try and give like a holistic take over the course of the season and like how I see things going. Do I think Amorim is going to be the guy for United? 50-50. I still haven't decided to like jump ship just yet. I still don't like the fact, although I don't like the fact that he's not changing formation. I don't like the fact that he's being strong-headed and stubborn about that. But maybe he sees something that we don't, and perhaps maybe eventually it can come good. I don't know. I'm a romantic about things. I like to see these kind of things work out. That would be the outcome I'm looking for. But at the end of the day, I'm still going to have to give them a D as not impressed. The reason why is because I'm thinking about, okay, what can be the one thing I can compliment United on? I can't really find that thing, honestly, truthfully. So I think the thing for me is they've been able to get results against teams that are just obviously worse than them, and they should. Like the fact that we were going into the game versus Sunderland and there were question marks on if United can pull it off is actually a very, very big indictment on where they are. That should be a no-brainer for them. That should be an obvious 3 on the board. But there were question marks that, if this game was not 3 points, this might be the last game for him. So because of that kind of situation, the fact that we can't get 2 wins in a row, like post the Chelsea win, I was really hoping Brentford might be the game we can get that back-to-back wins. But, for whatever reason, we could not do it against a rookie coach at Brentford. And, that just says a lot to me. So although I still feel United are going to finish better, because they're in the top 10 right now, I think that's a really good place for them going into the second international break. So coming back, obviously they have the big game versus Liverpool. Anything can happen in the post-international game break. That first game back is very, very chaotic. Not a lot of consistency in the teams because they haven't seen each other for so long. So United actually have a very, very good opportunity to start to make progression up the league. But yeah, it still remains to be seen if they can really improve and take it into Europe. But I'll give them a D. But I am hopeful for the Amarin project at United.
Yeah, it's a project, that's for sure. I like your way of putting it there. Aanu, what you got for the red part of Manchester?
Yeah, so for Man United, their grade is going to be a C. I think that the back-to-back wins thing is horrific considering the manager has literally been there for 1 year. So it's truly, truly ridiculous. The midfield is a mess still. They can't seem to fix that yet. But the thing that I will say is the patterns are so much better when it comes to their offense, but they're still extremely shaky when it comes to their defense. So till that's fixed, yeah, the grade's a C for me.
All right, my turn. Let's get hot and heavy. All right. So Manchester United, first things first. My grade on this team, I'm actually gonna break your scale right now, Anu. I'm giving them an E. Error code. This team is not made to be a top 6 team in the Premier League. And this is from the person with my scarf hanging over my closet right now. Okay, let's go through it. You brought up the midfield, which I'm so glad that you already did, so I don't have to. We all know that there's problems in that midfield, right? That team is a donut. It's been a donut ever since Matic was in the middle of it and lost his legs, and it has not recovered since because Amarim's out here trying to play a center attacking mid at center mid and not putting one of the best box-to-box midfielders in the future of the sport on the field at enough times to the point where he thinks that he should leave. So we start at the midfield. That's not even where my problems lie right now with the way that this team takes shape. My issue is that you have a 5-back system that you literally, not only do you not have the skill and pace on the team at center back to run a 5-back system, you don't have the number of center backs on your team to run a 5-back system in today's game. You play too many games, you have to play too often, and that's why you draw and lose to Grimsby in a cup game. Because you don't have enough people to play a spot that you have 3 of your 11 positions on the field are supposed to be one guy, and you've got Harry Maguire walking out there on a regular basis at stopper. And it's just it's not feasible in any way, shape, or form from the defensive end. And so then their answer was this summer to spend all of their money on forwards and fill a position where your best player was and now move him out of position. And I just don't get it. It does not make physical sense. When you work in sports, there are things that you identify problems, you solve those problems. You don't identify problems and then go, well, our C problem is this, and this guy's available, so I guess we can go solve that. But if we buy Benjamin Sesko and nobody can get him the ball, then what's the point? The other thing, too, that really frustrates me with this formation that they run is it's not his 5-2-3. That's not what the formation is. His formation is Cunha can float up there, and Mbeumo and Sesko are both strikers. It is literally not a 5-2-3, yet he decides that he's going to call it that every single time. and then you're just not utilizing the fact that you have wingbacks because you have wingers, and it does not make sense. So I give Manchester United an E, and now my rant can finally be over.
I think it's sad. It's kind of sad
because I just took shots.
Now you're okay, CB. One thing I was gonna add, and I was gonna say that it's kind of sad that I'm about to defend Amorim right now. And the reason why I'm gonna defend him because I did kind of have something like this when Arteta started. Not as bad as this. I was gonna put that, the lowest we were was 8th position. That was like the lowest of the lowest for us, right? But one thing that I've noticed now that Arsenal kind of has a really good squad now. Some people have said arguably the best squad in the league. I'm not against that take. I think we definitely have no excuses now. We need to be able to perform. But I remember the time when like every single transfer would be like, hey, we have this glaring issue. Why aren't we going for this obvious solution? Why are we going for this other? Why are we buying more defenders, right? Arsenal was like heaping. We used to buy so many defenders. We had so many defenders. We bought some more defenders, right? Like we have so many defenders. We got Pierre Hincapié. We haven't seen him all season, but he's an Arsenal player. Crazy, right? But I love it. But one thing I'm thinking about right now is that like I think Amorim is trying to think long term, but you don't have enough time to be thinking long term, my guy. That's the big issue. I think he's trying to look for market opportunities as well as trying to transition Bruno Fernandez's game long term. Because Bruno wouldn't be able to perform as an attacking player, at least a cam that has to run around a lot, or at least press from the front. He can't do that forever. So I'm thinking maybe he's trying to transition his game for the long term. I know you can jump in a sec, but yeah, that's the way I'm seeing it. He's probably trying to transition Bruno's game as well as like, okay, the defense is going to be ass. Let me get my attacker kind of scoring goals, and then we can kind of improve the defense. He's trying to like, do a little bit here and there rather than trying to solve one problem and, build forward. Arteta wanted to solve the defense and build forward. That was his style. But I think Amorim wants to like solve every department gradually together till they're all up at the same time. Will he have enough time? We don't know. But I think he's bought himself to November 1st at least with the win versus Sunderland. Because apparently, I don't know how true this is, but if he gets sacked post November 1st, the payout from the United board is going to be less than if he gets sacked pre-November 1st. So I don't know how it's going to look, but he needs to start winning games. Aanu, what were you going to say?
Yeah, so the problem with the Bruno thing is that when he's playing the 8, actually, he needs to run more, dude. So it's not actually that sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
So he needs a midfield 3 there. That's what they need, right?
Well, and it should be a midfield 3 because it's a 6, an 8, and a 10. Wow, what an idea. That's such a hard concept to do. Put a holding midfielder, put a box-to-box midfielder, and put one guy in front of your 3 forwards and let them operate. That's how every good midfield should operate. It should literally, I mean, we're talking about like my philosophies of soccer from like my childhood and growing up and like having a degree in sports. Okay.
Yeah.
You need 3 people in the midfield. They have 3 completely different jobs. And if they all know how to do their jobs, then you don't need any more people in the midfield. Yeah. That's why every team has a 4-3-3. And at the end of the day, whether it's a 4-3-3 holding, a 4-3-3 attacking, or just base, one guy's job is to attack, one guy's job is to defend, and one guy's job is to fill up the space between them. And that is how the midfield operates. And Kobe Mainu can fill the space between whoever they have on the field.
Literally.
And they aren't letting him do it. And
Literally.
they went and spent 50 million on Ugarte. So also my thing that I worry about with Fernandez is that he's 31. Trying to convert a 31-year-old's position is just like a choice. Or a 30-year-old, like changing his position. Like it's not feasible to pick your oldest starter, essentially, other than Casemiro, and go, all right, we're going to change your entire philosophy about how you've played this sport for your entire life.
And he also doesn't have the temperament.
Yeah.
Bruno doesn't have that temperament, right? Yeah.
Aanu. Oh, the agreement finger. I thought it was that I have something to say.
The agreement finger.
Fair enough. All right, we'll keep it rolling. We've ranted, I think, enough about Manchester United. But yeah, so we've got a D from Tobi. We've got a C generously from Aanu. And I'm going with the off the scale E on this chart for the Manchester United situation right now. Now let's bounce to a team who physically on the roster sheet a lot more sound and a lot more star power than on the red side of the city. But when it comes to the Blues of Manchester City, they are having another slowish look to their season at the beginning, but at the same time, they're only 6 games in. It's early goings. Erling Haaland can always go at any given moment, and now in their last 3 games, unbeaten, 2 wins, and a draw, coming off of 2 earlier losses. And all of their losses have been close, too. It's not necessarily been, I mean, they're at no point are they getting dominated by anyone. It's Manchester City. But, yeah, take me over, Toby, to another team with 10 points as we keep it rolling in this discussion. And I'm making
it's interesting, right? Both United and City both have 10 points, but I'm about to look at it from a very different point of view for City. I was about to give them a B, but now that I'm looking at the live table and the fact that they have the same amount of points as United, it's kind of crazy considering how we just talked about United. But at the end of the day, they have Pep, they have Erling. Like, those are 2 super powers in the sport. But because of where they're at right now in the table, I'm going to have to give them a C just because of the past experiences and what Man City is supposed to represent. Truly, I should be giving them a B just because, like, okay, obviously it's always going to – a dynasty can't last forever. You're asking for a lot to ask them to win, 5, 6, Premier Leagues in a row. So at some point, they're going to have to be a top 4 side, not a, championship fighting side. Do they have the ability to challenge for the championship? Absolutely. You doubt Manchester City at your own peril. But at the same time, considering where they're at today, we can't say that, oh my God, this is a great City side that's doing so well right now. If they judge themselves by their own standards, they are failing the standards that they have set in the past. And when you have Erling, you have Pep, at the end of the day, their squad, their first 11 is on par with an Arsenal. The first 11 is on par with the Liverpool. It's better than a Chelsea. So they should be in the top 3 spots. They're currently 8th in the table behind Sunderland. So that's kind of like, wow, to kind of like, say it out loud. But I was arguing between a B and a C, but I'm going to give them a C. I think they'll come better. I think they'll be able to develop more. I think they're trying to figure out who's going to be that 6th guy. Rodri isn't himself like he was in the past. So I think Nico Gonzalez is getting more minutes. They haven't really solved that midfield to be as good as they want it to be. But their defense looks nice. They have a lot of bodies, a lot of young people coming up and growing up with them. So they will be good defensively. Donnarumma versus Arsenal was crazy. Saves on saves on saves. Such an amazing goalkeeper. I doubted the acquisition because I'm like, oh, style of play. But as we can see, the Premier League now is moving away from that, like, play out from the back style. We're going longer. We're seeing long throws. Everyone's adopting set pieces. They're what's the word? They're inviting the chaos. They're okay with the chaos. Everyone's playing for the chaos. So I'm going to give City a C, but they're definitely going to be better. They're definitely going to finish in top 4. But right now, they're not doing amazing. They can do better. And they drew with Monaco in the Champions League, and they conceded in the last couple minutes. So that's also not a great thing for Man City. They should be winning these games. So we'll see for Man City.
Yeah, the schedule hasn't necessarily allowed them to get those competitions other than, like, I mean, you talk about the Monaco game, that's a different example, right? But
yeah,
I mean, you look at their Premier League competition so far: Burnley, Manchester United, Arsenal, of course, their losses to Brighton, Hove Albion, and Tottenham Hotspur. Aanu, Toby goes with a C, and ultimately, where do you put this Manchester City team that? Let me preface this too for you. Only 2 clean sheets in their opening 6 games of the season in the Premier League.
Yeah, so for Man City, I'm probably going to give them a grade of a B. I think Haaland will score 30+ league goals this season. I think the main problem is they've not been fantastic in the big games. They lost to Spurs, they drew versus Arsenal. So I think immediately they managed to clear that up. They probably won't want to win the league, but I think that they'll manage to finish like 3rd or something like that.
Yeah, I hear exactly what you're saying. You know what Manchester City feels like right now? It feels like should I say, like 2016, 2017 United, when it's like, oh my God, they're so bad. Look, they finished 2nd. It's like that's City, that and Liverpool this year. Honestly, we'll get into that one in a second, but everyone's gonna be sitting here like, look how terrible this team is. And and they're gonna finish with the third most points in the league, and everyone's gonna be like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, because
Yeah.
they win when they're supposed to. At the end of the day, except for that Brighton game.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, but Toby, what you got? Yeah.
When United finished second, was that Mourinho?
Yeah, that was
Wow.
Yeah. That was when they
Wow.
won the Europa League and finished second. And yeah,
They should have held. They should have held it. They rushed it. They should have held. They should have stayed with him.
Well, we didn't even get to me saying that they should have kept Ralph Rangnick around, but that's a whole other thing. You guys see the clip of Ollie talking about how he told them to buy Holland before he ever even went to Germany? Yeah. Anyways, speaking of Manchester City, I didn't give a grade. I personally, I'm gonna go with a B also. So my thing here with City and the way that it's played out, I just think like when you look at the schedule, yeah, that Brighton game really sticks out as an outlier. I think we'll talk about it in a second. Tottenham is playing out of their skin right now a little bit in my mind. But draw with Arsenal is really, I mean, it's what you can ask for, and you've got to demolish the teams that they did demolish the way that they've played so far. I mean, you look at their 3 wins on the season, and it's a combined 12-1 is their scoreline against Burnley, United, and Wolves. Now, given Burnley just promoted, Wolves probably will be in the championship next year. So, like, what does that mean? But those are games you have to win. And I think that's the thing that City does. And that's why you don't realize it by the end of the season. It's like, oh, no, they just beat everybody on the bottom half of the table into submission. And it wasn't even a question because they got all the points that they would need. So, yeah, I'll go with the B's. We've got 2 B's and a C on the City front. We keep it rolling to a team that pulled it out yesterday. Let's talk about this very, very injured Chelsea side that currently sits in the Premier League with 11 points. They're at 6 right now. Oh, boy. Wow. While we were broadcasting, Everton took a 2-1 lead over Crystal Palace. Fun fact, that was 1-0 when we started 20 minutes ago. That's very interesting. I wanted to talk about the unbeatenness of Crystal Palace, but that might not stick right now. Anyways, Chelsea though, let's talk about it and head over to London. What a game yesterday, first of all, let's just say, but also Club World Cup rearing its head. I guess when you get 90 million, you can't really complain that much, right though? Yeah. Toby, I'll go to you first on this Chelsea front.
The Chelsea thing is very interesting. They are the world champions. They're going to always remind you that when you try to, critique them, fair play, they won the competition. So we got to give it to them. But for the longest time, I've been saying that, they're not real world champions. Looking at the way they compete in the league right now, they're not willing to say that we're going to fight for the title, considering how much they spend, considering that the world champions. I would think the world champions should try and beat the champions of England. They don't think so, but that's okay, right? That just so that tells to me that they know that the team is still, trying to figure it out. But at the same time, right, they've been decimated by injuries so much already this season. It's kind of sad. Obviously from Colwell, I thought it would be the end of it, but it's been like injury after injury in all the departments. They do not have the best player right now in Cole Palmer, but the performance yesterday against Liverpool was very, very good to see. Obviously, I was wearing my Arsenal hat watching that game, and that last goal from Esteval, oh my, I went ballistic. It was good. He has it. He has it. So it's going to be a very interesting talent, and we'll see a lot from him. But in terms of my grade, I'm going to give them a B as on the way, because I want to think like when they have everyone back, they'll definitely be able to make an upward push. The thing that I doubt in Chelsea is like not the coach, but really like the maturity of the team in terms of being able to make it through a grueling Premier League season with all the other competitions and maintain that level of consistency. Like we know in a one-off game, they have the ability to win. They beat PSG. They beat Liverpool yesterday. So they have that ability within them, right? The question is, can they string, a sequence of results to be able to make a challenge for something? I think right now they're in a very good place to be a cup team. So in terms of like challenging for like, the traditional, like, FA Cup, Carabao, as well as like the European Cup. I think they definitely have a good shout in those competitions. Maybe European Cup, not so much, because it's going to be very, very competitive. A lot of top sides this year. Bayern looking crazy. I think right now I'm feeling like Bayern are the best team in terms of, in Europe right now. So I'm looking at them very scary. But yeah, it's really good for Chelsea. I think, was looking very doom and gloom 2 weeks ago, but now they're going to go into the international break with some positivity. Looking forward to Cole Palmer returning, and then they could probably make a proper push for top four and really cement themselves and see if they'll be in those places from March to try to mount a title challenge. But yeah, good work from Chelsea. Thank you for the result yesterday. I appreciate all my Chelsea fans up the Blues. But yeah, I give them a B. They're on their way,
On their way from Tobi. Aanu for Chelsea. What do you got? I mean, does it make it harder when their coach gets a second yellow with 30 seconds left in extra time?
No, but the grade for the Blues for me would be a C. I think they are a very good team, but without a very good defense. I've been extremely impressed by Reece James as well as the wonder kid off the right flank as well. I mean, fantastic talent. But I think for Reece James, it's the first time he's been like fit since like 2019-20, and I'm so happy to see that.
Yeah, it's fun to see. It's so funny for me as like someone who I feel like I took a couple years off while I was in college from the Premier League, and then like coming back to going from Reece James and Kyle Walker battling for the right back spot in the England team as a young and up and coming Reece James, and now he's the captain of Chelsea, and it's just like, oh, okay. I think the person we haven't talked about enough on this Chelsea team, though, especially just from the goal that they had last game, Moises Caicedo. I think, what's more impressive than his shot, though, that he scored is the shot that he didn't score while he was falling down and absolutely shredded that thing almost into the top netting. He's awesome to watch. But yeah, the defense is in a tough spot right now. And especially when you have, 6 center backs that are injured right now on their team?
At least 4 for sure.
So the problem with them is not the quantity of the center backs that they have hurt. The problem is the quality of the center backs, period. Because I really don't think they have like one that is like a world-class one. The closest one would be like Wesley Fofana, but he probably can't stay fit for like a full season. But apart from that, yeah, they really need like a world-class one, and they really don't have that right now.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. Toby?
On Fofana, I mean, like, guys, this is Fofana from 4 years ago. That was when, like, he was maybe quote unquote on the way to being world class. I don't think Chelsea has any world class defenders. I think they went to one critique I definitely have of Chelsea that Chelsea fans would agree on is that they went too crazy with the wingers. Like, similarly with United, this was not your main problem. They should have probably cemented the midfield, like getting somebody to support Caicedo. But to be fair, they have Lavia, so they do have somebody to support Enzo and Caicedo. So yeah, maybe they're okay there. But their CBs, for having so many CBs, by the Asile, Disasi, Colwell, Hato, which I like Hato a lot. But like we said, Rich James had to play CB yesterday to be able to clutch it out. And that just shows you how important he is, and also like how much they're lacking in the CB region. But I do like Rich James as a central player rather than on the right back. So I hope they keep playing him more and more in center back CDM, because I feel he's going to get injured less if he plays in those positions. But yeah, that's Mr. Chelsea right there. But that was my take on, Chelsea at some of their positions.
Yeah, definitely. I hear it. We've got a C and we got a B. I am going to go with the B because I am going to give them the benefit of the pain doubt. I mean, they have acquisitions from the summer that still have not touched the pitch yet this season. Obviously, Liam Delap still injured right now. And I mean, they brought up the list yesterday, and it's literally a full, like, I think there's 11 names on their injured list right now, and only one of them was cleared by the end of October. Like that's just such a tough spot to be in. Like I hate to keep going back to American sports, but I think about like the Detroit Lions last year with they had 12 guys on IR. Like you only have 11 guys on the field at a time. How are you supposed to even like play the game when you have more than that out for the season? But yeah, it's I'll give them the benefit of the doubt by giving them that B here for Chelsea. As we said, 11 points that they currently sit on, 3, 2, and 2 in the opening 7 games for them. We keep it rolling to the top 3 now, and this is where maybe some teams might be playing out of their shoes a little bit. Maybe some teams are playing right where we expected. Maybe someone's underperforming. But in at 3 in the Premier League, it is Tottenham Hotspur. 4-2-1 through their first 7 games, 14 points. In their last 4 games, they are unbeaten with 2 wins and 2 draws, coming off that 2-1 win over Leeds. Where realistically they had control of that game. Their early goal was a deflection, but at the end of the day, they deserved to get the winner later on in that game. They had control. And yeah, right now, Tottenham Hotspur sits pretty at 3rd place in the Premier League standings. Toby, where do you have the London side?
So guys, you know my affiliation, so I'm not gonna give him an A. Let's just get that out the way. That's not gonna happen. I'll give Thomas Frank an A because he's a fantastic coach and he's done so well for them. You know, it's so sad to see him join the white side of North London, but I respect him. I think like he's been due a top 6, top 4 job for a long time, and he's really showing, you know, his minerals in terms of being a top tier coach. You know, I'm very excited to see how he progresses. He speaks so well. He sets up his side so well. The fact that this Tottenham side that was weak in set pieces last year has gotten so much better in set pieces already this year just shows you the levels in terms of like his coaching, being able to set them up to be able to like compete against City, as well as other teams that are going to try and give them a low block problem. They have a fantastic roster. I do like some of the players they're bringing in. Kudos, Xavi Simons, even Mattel, who scored yesterday. They have a lot of players that are looking good, and they're going to only continue to recruit better. They're really primed to be able to make the next step and challenge. If Tottenham was to get like a Saudi ownership, an American ownership that wants to invest, they have the turnover to be able to buy big stars. They have the position to be able to challenge. They just need to have that ambition from upstairs. But Tottenham are really looking good. Like it's crazy to say, but Tottenham could, like, if they really play their position well, they're not far off from a title challenge if they keep going year on year in the next 2, 3, 4 years. It might sound crazy, but I think they're not that far off. They have a lot of good ingredients in the side, and they just really need to back this coach and help take them to the next level. But yeah, I'll give Tottenham a B. Fantastic results. Maybe just 1 loss versus City, but I'm looking at them. A lot of wins, a couple draws here and there that they probably shouldn't have. The only suspect thing is that I feel like outside of the Premier League, when they play, you know, in Europa, no, sorry, not in Europa, sorry, in the Champions League or in like the Carabao FA Cup, the levels kind of drops a little bit in terms of performance. Maybe it's a mentality thing from the players. Maybe it's the approach to the game. But the game versus Bodo Glimt was not a good game at all. Some would say maybe it's the fact that Bodo Glimt use artificial turf in their stadium. That kind of affects things. I don't know. But Tottenham have done really well. They have had some squeaky, you know, weird moments where I'm like, oh, you don't look so great. But overall, for the fact that they were 16th last year and all the way to 3rd position right now, 6 games in, we have to give them their flowers. It's really an A, but my number is going to be a B. That's my answer.
I hear you, Toby. I get it. What you got, Aanu? Take it away. Where do you sit on, before you hit your ranking, where do you sit on Tottenham having enough horses to stay in this race as the year goes on?
So, I mean, for Spurs, they probably won't win the league for sure, but I'd say they're probably going to finish 4th or something like that. Yeah. But for the grade, I am going to give them an A for sure, since I have no affiliations. So, yes, clearly an A. I think the signings have been fantastic, from Joao Palhinha to Mo Kudus. The team have been, or are, like significantly younger than last year with more flair as well. The one problem that I do have with Spurs is they've been struggling to find a fairly reliable midfield pair, which is led to the lack of their clean sheets. So once the new manager has managed to find that out and he's managed to find a midfield two that he can trust, then yeah, they should finish fourth.
Yeah, Toby?
On that midfield pair, I definitely feel like they have the players there. It's just a matter of combination. I might be forgetting some names. Paulinho has been amazing for them. Bentancur has also improved. I know he had a couple health issues earlier on, maybe a year or 2 years ago. But I'm liking the fact that he's able to like play at this level and continually string games together. I know they have a couple young guys. I'm totally blanking on their names. There's the one young dude that's like British, and there's the other young dude that's like Scandinavian with blonde hair. I'm forgetting both of them right now. But yeah,
so
they definitely
it's Lucas Bergville is the Scandinavian, and the British one is Archie Gray.
That's my guy. That's why you're the producer, man. But yeah, right. I feel like those four players are super talented, and they just need to find that right combination of like positions. And they also have Madison out with an ACL, right, which is crazy. So they have also creative strength that's missing, right? But they definitely have players there to be able to create a very, very successful midfield three that can definitely challenge for top four and maybe win another cup competition because they've gotten that monkey off their back with the Europa last year. Shout out to
Whoa. Look, love Spurs, but let's not get too carried away, please.
Fair play.
All right. Let's take the hot take on Tottenham. I'm calling it a universal A. We're giving them a unanimous A. At this point in the season, let's be so real. Only one loss on the year. It was a 1-0 loss to AFC Bournemouth. Come out with a 2-goal win over I have my thumb up right now while I'm trying to count things, and my computer just tried to tell me that I could use hand gesture effects, like with them popping up or something in the screen. That's
so fucking dystopian. So fucking dystopian, though, isn't it?
It is.
Technology, man.
And I don't like that it just popped up while I was talking. But yeah, even when they're not on their game, they're still on their game enough to pull out the draw right now. And I think that's kind of one of the key things. Also, one of the things that's a constant with everybody else except for Tottenham that we've talked about so far, Tottenham drew with Brighton. Apparently everybody else is just losing to the Gulls. But I think this is an easy first unanimous A for us on the scale of things. Let's go to a team that probably won't be an A. Honestly, I think though the most opinionated towards not being an A would be the home fans of this Liverpool side. Let's head to Anfield next with the 5-0-2, 15 points. Lost their last 2 games, both of them 2-1 to Crystal Palace and Chelsea. Toby, where are you grading Liverpool right now on the season?
It's very interesting because for the longest time, I've been saying this since last season, and obviously it comes off as like a bitter Arsenal fan. But really and truly, Liverpool's win last year was just more of a thing where I felt like they were the best of a bad bunch. And I felt like there were issues with the side that, if you're being critical, you could tell that this is not like they're not undefensible. Like you can get at them, there's a chance there against Liverpool. And even this season, you could already tell with the number of late winners that they had, with the late winners thing, there's always 2 ways the conversation will go on social. Oh, it's not sustainable, or 2, it's the mark of champions, right? There's only 2 ways people look at, the late winners. And it seems like the not sustainable side is kind of edging it out at this point in time. I still think Liverpool is really good. I don't think because I've seen Man City and I've seen clubs Liverpool, I've seen the 90+ point totals, I've seen the Centurions, so I know those guys were crazy. Arsenal hasn't gotten to that level. And probably in like pre that era of Klopp and Pep, Arsenal had enough points to be able to win the league. In this new era, you got to be almost perfect. You can't drop points. The fact that they've lost 2 times already in the first 7 games, it's kind of it's a big deal. It's an issue. So I'm still going to give them a B. The reason why I give them a B is because they've been able to win. They have an attack that can definitely take them over the line. We know that Arsenal and Liverpool right now are probably the two that are looking to be going for this league. Obviously, Chelsea, Tottenham, Man City, they're in the conversation somewhat, but we have to see how things progress. Arsenal, we may not be as consistent as we think we're going to be, and we may also fall off. We don't know. But Liverpool's dropping points in games where it's a bit shocking, right? That Chelsea game, the shocking thing about it wasn't the fact that they were giving away chances to Chelsea, was the fact that I felt that Liverpool weren't clicking in attack. And that's one thing we're always like, sure about with Liverpool. They're always able to get these goals over the line in those kind of basketball games where we're going back and forth throughout. And Wirtz had some chances. Salah had some chances. And for some reason, it just wasn't going in. Yesterday, Salah was looking kind of shocking to me. Some of these kicks, I'm like, wait a minute. This is not the Mo I know. So I'm like, I know he's older, right? But like, has it happened? Has he gone over that peak? We don't know yet, right? Maybe we shouldn't doubt him so soon. But like, it's a fair question to ask. And that leads me to my next question. Like, what happens with Liverpool when Mo Salah isn't Mo Salah anymore? Is Isak is he ready to be the Mo Salah for Liverpool and score those goals when they're not playing so well? Because that game was a prime game for Salah to score when Liverpool isn't playing so well, but it didn't happen, and that matters. And now they're going into the international break, the extended international break, where I think we're off for 2 weeks. And like in these 2 weeks, they're gonna have to stew on it. The Liverpool fans, the Liverpool head coach Arne Slot, and they're gonna have to find a solution. I want them to play Ekitike and Isak together. Maybe I'm asking too much, but we'll see. I'm not in love with Gakpo personally. I feel like his game is very, very like predictable right now, and I want to see something different there. Maybe we play an Ekitike off the left or an Isak off the left. They have the ability. I think Gakpo, and both of them are not as stiff as Gakpo, in my opinion, so they can do it. So I want to see what happens with Liverpool post the international break. I still think they'll challenge, but definitely they're looking not so great. They're looking like you can get at them. I'm going to give them a B, but we'll wait and see.
B from Tobi. Aanu for this Liverpool squad riding off of 2 losses. Both of them, of course, 1-goal games and late winners from their opponents.
So for the Reds, I am going to give them C. C is a grade. And it's because Chaimberlain is not a right back, yet they play him there over and over again, and it's a problem. So that's stupid. They probably should have bought a number 6 through the summer, and they didn't, so that's stupid too. They're probably still going to win the league, but it won't be as smooth as last year.
Gay too. They needed him badly.
Yeah, it's interesting to look at the way that the Liverpool squad shook out. And I think one of the interesting things, I was listening to Jamie Carragher yesterday, and he was ranting about how Liverpool isn't a soccer team right now. They're a basketball team in the way that they play. It's back and forth, up and down. And I mean, the last 10 minutes of that game yesterday, let me level with you. I broadcast lacrosse like for a job that felt like a lacrosse game with feet. It was a hockey game. It was lacrosse. Like, it was literally not soccer. You don't get the ball, dribble down to midfield, and automatically have an opening to go on a run to goal. Like, that just shouldn't be the case. But it got to this point where both teams are just like, all right, my forwards have more legs than your defense. All right, my forwards have more legs than your defense. All right, my forward, like, just back and forth, but nobody could actually score off of it until the last final opportunity for Chelsea. Yeah, Aanu.
Yeah, the problem with Liverpool is they miss Trent because this is what he brought, the control.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. And it's not even just missing Trent, it's that they didn't replace him. There wasn't a conscious decision for a defensive sound fullback to be added to the group. It was the thought of, well, we can just fill in from the back, keep it going, just funnel in the next guy. I mean, Virgil's Virgil, so just let him do what he needs to do, right? Yeah, Tobi?
And I agree with that take too, because although they did replace him with Frimpong and they had Connor Bradley coming up, who's more of a traditional fullback, like English style, stylistically, they haven't replaced him yet. Because although Szoboszlai has that ability to play those balls, he doesn't have the freedom to play those balls where they can just like, he can just hoof it up with the accuracy and pinpoint, put it on Salah's chest, right? That's the thing that they're missing the most. Be able to bypass all the need to go through the midfield. They can play the ball to Trent and just go straight into attack, not having to build up, not having to take care of all that stuff, straight to Salah, and you're already like 2 seconds away from a pass or cross or a shot at goal. But yeah, now they have to actually like build up, and if they can make it through the midfield successfully, say Verts makes a misplaced pass or McAllister makes a misplaced pass, they're already running at Van Dijk. And Van Dijk's not going to step up. He's going to back up. And that was Caicedo's first goal. Which we kind of need to speak about Van Dijk. Why does he never step up? He's always backing away, waiting for someone else to come in.
The center back thing, there are 2 types. There are cats and dogs. And he's a lot more of a cat, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a dog would be like
Gabriel,
like a Romero. Yeah. So a player who is like slightly more aggressive, who is like a bit of a psycho. And that's not really Virgil's game.
Fair play.
No, he uses his head a lot more. And I don't mean his forehead. I mean what's inside of it. Yeah. He's not like the brick wall that is Harry Maguire's forehead. But no, I totally hear what you're saying on that though, Aanu. That's a really great point. I like that way of putting it. So my ranking for Liverpool here, at number 2 right now, coming off of the 2 losses, it's this game of like, do I want to play a recency bias game? Do I want to hold them to a higher standard than I'm holding others to? I'm going to give them a B, because at the end of the day, everybody thinks you're crap, and you have 5 wins in the Premier League right now, and only one other team has 5 wins in the Premier League right now. So how bad can it really be? But yeah, they definitely, I mean, they just have so many horses that they don't necessarily know what to do with them up at the top end there. And I liked what you brought up there, Toby, about trying to get Ekitike and Isak on at the same time. I just think maybe there's an opportunity once they get into this situation of like playing a bunch of games where it's like, hey, maybe we pull Salah out, we ditch the 4-3-3 and we switch it up to 4-2-1, 4-1-2-1-2, maybe 4-4-3-2 or 4-3-1-2, and then slide Verts in behind Ekitike and Isak, and you've got a lethal top 3 theoretically that just has not played together. So I think that's the other thing that's kind of terrifying about Liverpool is once they figure out how they can best dissect a team, they are going to be lethal. And if they have 5 wins right now and they haven't figured that out yet, that's terrifying.
Because they have the tools for sure.
Yeah, they definitely do. All right, we will keep it on rolling to the Arsenal train, the Gunners. Toby, we're going to you last on this one because we're gonna play our game that way. 5-1-1, unbeaten in their last 4, going 3 wins, 1 draw, and Arsenal is absolutely riding high off of a 2-0 win over West Ham yesterday. Aanu, what do you got for the Gunners?
Yeah, so for Arsenal, the grid is going to be a B. I've been super impressed with them, especially in the big games, They had the draw with Man City. They beat Newcastle last week. So I think they've been super impressive in that regard. The signings have been so fantastic as well in pretty much every area, from the defense to midfield to the offense as well. I think they will very easily finish top 4, but they still will not win the league.
Interesting. Okay. For me, as I look to this Arsenal squad, I think based on what I just said about Liverpool, I feel like I hyped them up in a way that would make it sound like they are going to win the league because if they figure it out, but there is an if that comes with that figuring it out. I think if Liverpool doesn't completely figure something out, there is a train that cannot be stopped in London, and that is Arsenal. I just think you brought up a really great point earlier, Toby, with there's no excuses now for this Arsenal team. And that is 100% what it feels like. But I also just think at the end of the day, this team has the ability at the 65-minute mark, at the 70-minute mark, to just, what we're doing right now isn't working. All right, screw you. We're going to change it and bring in 2-3 guys, completely change the vibe of the offense. You can completely change the vibe of the defense, which you never would need to do. And that's the other thing too, right? We're talking about the best defense in the Premier League at this point in the season. And they're playing like it. And at the end of the day, you look through their goals that they've given up. They've given up 3 goals so far this season. It was 1 to Liverpool, 1 to Manchester City, and 1 to Newcastle. Like, that is insane play so far on the season from the Gunners. I'm going to give them an A. And now I will pass it to our resident Gunner fan in Toby.
Shout out to the Arsenal fans worldwide. I'm actually going to give Arsenal a B, funny enough. The reason why I'm giving us a B is because we haven't hit the heights of, us playing at our best. I think the thing that obviously affects most teams playing at this level is the mental game. Going into a big game, knowing there's so much pressure, knowing you have the ability and being afraid that you might not execute, that can hold you back in your performance. And we've seen that in the games versus Liverpool, against Man City. We've said that, maybe Arteta needs to take off the handbrakes. But I think it's a thing where, we're trying to grow into the season and not make a mistake too early and then, find ourselves 8 points behind. Say City beat Crystal Palace a week ago and Arsenal lost to Newcastle, which was very, very feasible and realistic. We would be 8 points behind. And then it's a different thing going to national break saying that, Arsenal are out of the Premier League race and Arteta needs to be sacked. But now we're looking at it where Arsenal is actually 1 point ahead of Liverpool going into the international break. And it's so crazy what 1 week can do for you. So at the same time, I'm not going to say we're there yet. I still feel like the team needs to, there's not much the team needs to do. Just remain consistent and string games together. We have a good run of games coming up because the hardest part of us for the first part of the season has just passed. Now we're going to play against a lot of mid-table sides, lower-level sides, with a few difficult games of the Champions League. But I want to see us string a couple of wins together. The Liverpools and Man Cities of yesteryears would give you an 8 to 10 game winning run. I need that. If they do that, I already back us as champions because I feel like I need to support my club. But if we do that, give a 10-game Premier League winning run, 8-game Premier League winning run, I'm there. We're so there. The defense, magnifique. Saliba extended his contract. Saka is about to extend. Timber, oh my God, what a player. He's about to extend. The midfield, Declan, Zubimendi, Eze, Odegaard. Wow. Odegaard got hurt again. And we have so much squad depth that I can pick between Eze, Nwaneri or Merino to step in to come and play midfield with Declan and Zubimendi. That's 5-6 midfielders in the squad that we can rotate. Havertz is not back yet. Gyökeres is probably the only part that we're waiting to see work out. But he should be careful because if Havertz comes back in and he's not scoring, Havertz is going to take that spot. So I'm not too worried striker-wise. I'm not too worried winger-wise. Martinelli is coming back and he's looking great. Just give me a cup, guys. Give me a trophy. But I want one of the big ones, okay? But I'll manage a little one if we win a big one the year after. But really and truly, the Premier League is looking really good right now. We should really take it so seriously. This is our chance. We have the know-how. We felt the pain. Second 3 times in a row will do something to you. You're going to feel it. It's so close yet so far away. But now they should look at the table. They should go into the international breaks as they're going on the planes, traveling to South America, Europe to go join their clubs, their countries to go play. They need to look at that table and be like, wait a minute. We just played Liverpool. We didn't play at our best. We're still expecting people to come back. We're still gelling. Guys, we got this. Back yourselves. Back yourselves, boys. You've been here before. All of you have been in these kind of situations already. Unless they've already finished second already, being part of the roster last year, or someone like Gyökeres who's won before, or people like Nkapie who's coming from Leverkusen who went invincible not too long ago in Germany. All of these guys have had this kind of experience fighting for trophies. Now we just have to go out there and get it done. and it needs to happen now. It needs to happen this season. So yeah, B from Arsenal. I'm very happy with what I'm seeing, and I still think there are ways for us to go. We can get better again in the big games. We need to get over this fear. We need to know that we're ourselves, that we're good, and step up. Anu, what were you gonna say?
Yes, so the Gyökeres thing, bro, he really needs to perform in the big games, man. He needs to perform in the big games. Look, it's fine scoring in like the smaller games with like the smaller teams, and I have no doubt that he will score at least 15 this season. But I watched like the West Ham game as well, and he had a lot of problems there as well, man. So I'm not saying he will be a bad signing or anything like that. The rule that I actually tend to give to a lot of signings is I give them 3 seasons. So I'm pretty sure by his 3rd season he'll probably be acquainted, but right now, nah. Yeah.
And as I'm watching this game too, I do agree. I think if you want to take Gyökeres out the game, just man mark him. Stick a strong CB on him, and he's gonna have a tough time because he does not have the technical brilliance to be able to take that ball and beat his man because he's usually just tussling. So I'm thinking perhaps he would benefit from one of these two guys coming back. One, Gabriel Jesus, or two, Havertz. I would like to see Gyökeres play from the left wing. Crazy, I know. But with the wait, let me land, coach. Coach, give me a chance, coach. Give me a chance, coach. I want him playing from the left wing with a small striker in GJ and ST who can rotate with him, or Havertz and ST with Gyökeres in left wing who can always also rotate with him. One thing about Havertz's game that's very good is that when we go long, Havertz wins a lot of headers. Gyökeres isn't doing that. So if Havertz can be the one tussling with the guy winning the header, Gyökeres perhaps can benefit off of that and be able to play off of the rebound. And similarly as well, although when we have Gabriel Jesus in, he rotates very well and can also go into the left wing. I believe two of them can have combination play to give Gyökeres some space. My point is, Gyökeres is too caught up in the game, battling with his CB. I need somebody to take that responsibility off him, and so he could actually try and be on the final ball, on the end ball, the ball in behind. And additionally as well, we face so many low blocks. The low blocks are so boring. There's no space for him to run into, which is his game. So of course he's going to have that difficulty as well. But this is where the coaches need to find solutions and figure out his game. What I would advise for them is to go look at what Chelsea did with Diego Costa so many years ago. I think that's probably the make and the style of play we need to adopt to give him a chance. And I think Gyökeres also needs to get stronger and develop more on the ball technical brilliance. He needs to go do some work in the field, like controlling the ball. I think he's too caught up tussling with the guy. His whole game is him out wrestling with the other CB. You just see him the whole game. One of them's gonna fall. It's gonna be a foul. Ball's gonna bounce, and nothing's gonna really happen. So they need to clean that up. He has the ability to score. We just need to create chances for him. But they're taking a while because Arsenal was fully player from the back previously. Now we're trying to add long balls into the game. We're trying to be more direct, which helps us and prevents our opponent from, getting comfortable. But it also prevents us from really stringing the kind of plays we want to play. When you go long, you're like begging for luck to work out for you in terms of how it's going to work out. Whereas when you play out from the back, although it can be slow, it can be boring, you can set up your plays based off of like movement and how you want things to happen. So I think they need to find a way to marry those two styles together to get Gyökeres scoring. Because if he has the chances, he will score. He just doesn't have the chances. I think he needs somebody else to be able to pull those men and free up space for him. But yeah, B for Arsenal.
I hear what you're saying there. I just think, you bring in a guy like Gyökeres and your hope is that he is your hold-up forward. So,
Yeah.
Yes, but actually I would go get somebody to do the job you're saying Gyökeres should do. Let him grow. He should gain muscle, and then he should be the one wrestling the entire time. But he needs to be actively getting the ball to someone versus flying or going down because he's in a wrestling match and then his legs are all tied up or whatever it might be. But yeah, I definitely do hear what you're saying there.
He needs to get stronger. I agree there.
Yeah. All right. Well, that does it for our rankings of the top 6 in the Premier League, the big six in the Premier League. Of course, not top six right now. As we went with our show, final on Crystal Palace, they get their first loss of the season to Everton, falling 2-1 in that game. But anyways, that's going to do it for us this week. Thank you for joining us. Like the video if you enjoyed, and let us know your opinions in the comments below. Subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of our next episode, where we'll be ranking the 5 best managers in the world currently. Have a great week, everyone.